raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
A hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
Rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirtbags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
Go find out.
The shadows whispered in the wires, hidden hands behind the throne, built their kingdom out of silence, chained the world they thought they owned. Silent codes and stolen stories, truth was buried out of sight, but in the quiet hearts were beating, waiting for the spark of light. They thought we'd never see the masks behind the screen, but the cracks began to bleed, and we began to dream. From the dark to light we're rising, breaking chains, the veil dividing, truth awaken, flames igniting, the old guard falling, freedom climbing, dark to light, the dawn's arriving. We were lost but now unblinding, every whisper, every fighting, all converging, dark to light. We were ghosts inside their system, digital soldiers, quiet storms, turned the weapons of deception into signals to transform. Every lie became a beacon, every secret fed the flame. We're the chorus of the voiceless, calling out their hidden name. They thought we'd never know, but rivers find their flow, and seeds they tried to sow have grown and overflow. From the dark to light we're rising, breaking chains, the veil dividing, truth awaken, flames igniting, the old guard falling, freedom climbing, dark to light, the dawn's arriving. We were lost but now unblinding, every whisper, every fighting, all converging, dark to light, dark to light. No more kings behind the curtain, no more pawns inside their game. We are fire, we are certain we'll erase their hidden name. Every tower built on lies will crumble, every shadow forced to see the sun. We are many, we won't stumble, we are rising, we've begun, we've begun. From the dark to light we're rising, breaking chains, the veil dividing, truth awaken, flames igniting, the old guard falling, freedom climbing, dark to light, the dawn's arriving. We were lost but now unblinding, every whisper, every fighting, all converging, dark to light, dark to light.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're in the world. My name is Josh, and welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Friday. Hope everybody is doing well tonight and having a great Thursday. Oh my God, it's Thursday already. This week is absolutely flying by. And Thursdays, well, our Zoom was last night. We had a great Zoom last night. I think like 50 people on there. So that was a great Zoom last night. And tonight we got the OG show, people. The OG show. We're watching The Guardian. Man, it's going to be crazy because I have no idea what we're talking about tonight. I don't even know the topic. So that'll be interesting. And then right after this, I'm actually jumping on another podcast for just a quick little bit called The Sit Rep with Alpha and CanCon. And so that'll be in about, well, it'll be soon. I told him I'd be there in 30 minutes, but it's definitely not going to be 30 minutes. So hopefully I can make it. Man, I feel bad now. I told him I was going to be there at 9:30. And I'm like, 9:30 Eastern. Well, we'll see if we can make it over there. Maybe we'll all just dip out of here really early and go over there and finish up there. But man, what's up? How are we doing today? We all having a good day? It's an interesting day, isn't it? Very interesting day. You know, I put out a post on X today, and I said, contrary to the popular psyop that is being played on social media, World War III is not going to happen. It has been canceled. And see, that's what I firmly believe. I firmly believe that when they say patriots are in control, when Donald Trump is looking calm, cool, collected, that we have to understand that this man has things under control. And I hope that we can present that a little bit tonight to show you that, hey, things are not what they seem, or not what, at least not what we're being told they are, right? I mean, you go onto social media, it's just a realm of contradiction, of confusion, a realm of misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda. It is all over the freaking place. And that's why I appreciate you guys, because you guys like, well, I'll just see what Josh has to say, because, well, him and Alpha have been pretty damn right the last, few years. And I like that, because I like to navigate the field of information. That's my job. I navigate the field of information, and I try to push away the bullshit and propaganda, and I try to look and identify the psychological warfare operations that are going on, the information ops or the influence ops, and then I try to look at where is the truth that this is trying to cover up, and what could the truth potentially be, and who are the actors that are playing in this large game. And that's where we are at today. And there's an old video that General Flynn posted today of Colin Jorskew, who's the former executive director at the United Nations. And we played this video a long time ago when it first aired, but I'm going to pull this back up now because I think that this is relatively important to understand what has been defeated. Listen to this.
The problem is that the UN agenda is the same with Davos agenda. Mm-hmm. This, in fact, is my main topic for our conversation today. For this reason, this the world oligarchic system, they have the power on Europe because they control all the people like Bundeskanzler or president or prime minister or whatever there are. So for this reason, sorry to interrupt you, the situation with Donald Trump was a big shock.
They didn't expect that to happen. That was an accident, I suppose.
Absolutely an accident.
Not part of their game plan.
It was the first time of the oligarchy system was happened an accident. Mm-hmm. Because normally it have to be Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And the process which we are dealing now with this pandemic and all these liars was supposed to be in 2016.
They were pushed into
exactly, in a sense, to be in 2020, to be a disaster regarding food and water.
Ah, I see.
Which normally they want to arrive in 2025 now.
I see.
So the plan was a little bit changed. And for this reason, of course, they will not succeed. This is clear. I mean, the system is almost down. Mm-hmm. It's,
and that's the old guard system. That is the oligarchical system that Donald Trump has systematically dismantled over the course of the last year and, well, last 10 years. It was all about taking back over the idea of information. It was all about controlling the information domain, because truly the power on this planet is the people. When the people are awake and alert and aware of what is happening, the people will speak up and they'll find every mechanism to ensure that other people know. And that's exactly what happened in 2017 to 2025. You know, it's interesting looking back historically, because there's a lot of stories that are untold that we probably don't even know. And I see people, Tone Tech says, the Illuminati, the Rothschilds, London banks. Yeah. I call it the European aristocracy, right? It's the bloodlines, the monarchy, the bankers. It's the European aristocracy, and they have controlled the world through proxy for a very, very long time. And Donald Trump has systematically dismantled them, and that's continuing to happen with what we're seeing right now in Iran. In Iran, people are like, well, you know, Iran's about Iran, and no. What's about Israel? No. What's about China? Yeah, but you got to add some flavor into that China part, because there's more to it in context. So it's about China. It's about the old guard. It's about the foot out the old door and the foot in the new door. How many IDF soldiers are in ICE? No idea. Didn't know there was any in there. I bet there's probably a few, because anybody can become an IDF soldier, but I don't know. Donald Trump today, man. What a goat, greatest of all time. I'm gonna play this video because this is absolutely classic Donald Trump. But first thing I'm gonna do is, I just saw a Rumble rant come in. I don't think it's posted yet, but I just saw it come in. So I'm going to go ahead and run this ad. We're just going to get this one out of the way. This is for everybody on Rumble or anybody out there in the world. They can freeze your account, shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you. They control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet peer-to-peer and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. And I appreciate Rumble for helping to sponsor this broadcast. Now let's listen to Donald Trump sitting down with a Japanese prime minister, and he's asked a question by what appears to be Japanese media.
One question: why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, no, you believe in surprise, I think much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out the first 2 days, we probably knocked.
The prime minister's eyes when he did that. But he's right. Why am I going to give out war plans? Come on. I'm not going to tell my friends what I'm about to do. That's not going to happen. Or my allies, not friends, allies. Because in this multipolar world framework that's being developed out right now, you cannot perceive it as friends when it's considered to be allies. Instead, what you have to look at is people we just align with now. Because tomorrow that might change. And we're seeing that currently with Russia. Russia, for the longest time, has been the global boogeyman. Now Russia is becoming a strategic partner within trade, energy, and eventually, I would say, military. And that's going to be the great divergence between Russia and China. And I think that moment is coming probably very soon. Iran is actually going to dictate a lot of this. Now, going into that real quick in kind of my thoughts on this, because I think that this is important to note that number one is you have the Iran conflict, which foreign knowledge was known by another foreign country, two foreign countries. Israel obviously had foreign knowledge of it, but Russia also had foreign knowledge of it. And I proved this last week when we looked at it, and we saw Arctic LNG, which is a Russian oil and gas company, right after the Alaskan summit, filled up their tankers full of oil and gas and put them out to sea. And then right when the Strait of Hormuz got closed down, Lloyd's of London pulled all the insurance premiums. The United States goes in and backs the insurance premiums, and oil prices skyrocket. The U.S. goes in there and alleviates sanctions on certain Russian oil. Just happens to be all waterborne oil that was put out to sea in August that then reduces the global supply, or increases the global supply and eases the demand and lowers prices. How did Putin know that? Because it was part of their plan. It was part of what Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin understood. And I think that Xi Jinping is in on this as well. But Xi just purged 7 different generals from the PLA. He's purging a massive amount of what's known as the CCP elders, Jintao and his crowd, the globalist crowd within China. And why is that important? Because at the end of the day, they understand that they're both, all three of them are moving towards a multipolar world framework, to where the old methodologies of control and dictation of law, policy, and regulation of moving the world towards this globalist agenda are over. Instead, it's a free-for-all. It is, hey, look, let's all rise up to this on the competitive level of power, not be controlled by any external factors, and let's help this world better itself and move into the future together. And if we have to, fight it out economically and culturally, and we have to fight it out technologically, then we will. And that's what's happening between China and the United States right now. And Russia, for the longest time, I've talked about, is this variable that if Russia aligns with China, it's done for the United States of America. If Russia aligns with the United States, then China doesn't even begin to fight, doesn't have a chance to even fight. And what we're seeing right now is exactly that, the Russia aligning with the United States of America. And that's going to lead to what I call the great divergence of Russia and China. But I don't think it's going to be horrible and bad. I think what it's going to do is establish the boundaries of the multipolar world framework that is being built right now. All right. Whether you like these men or not, I think you need to listen to this, because Joe Kent says some interesting things right here. And yes, what I would say about Joe Kent's interview with Tucker is that there was things that Joe Kent obviously did not know, could not know, that he claimed that he potentially did know and denied. And said that no to, in the sense of, did you see the intelligence? There was no intelligence. He didn't have access to that. We know that this was controlled very tightly within the Trump administration. So there's some bullshit with some of the things that Joe Kent says. On the other hand, he does have some information, and I think that this is the cover to really get this type of information out. And listen to what he says here.
What kind of pressure does it require to get a president who campaigned against exactly this thing for 10 years to do exactly this thing? What does it take to do that?
I wish I knew definitively. I think there's two potentials, there's two schools of thought. I mean, one is the media echo chamber, the donors, the way the Israelis come in and kind of launder the information like I described previously. And then the other option is much darker. I mean, we still don't know what happened in Butler. We don't know what happened with Charlie Kirk. And by no means am I saying the Israelis did this or any of that, but I'm saying there's a lot of unanswered questions there. And there is enough data to at least say that there's a good chance that President Trump feels like he is under threat. We're not allowed to ask, basically, was there any linkage between what took place with Asif Merchant, who was recruited by the Iranians to come to America to recruit proxies to kill President Trump. The FBI put a confidential human source at him. All this is public now. This is all out there in the open. and he's arrested. And then 2 days later, a sniper takes a shot at President Trump. We think Merchant and the we know the CHS was talking about the human source that the FBI put at Merchant. They were talking about, hey, we could kill the president potentially with a sniper rifle. But then they arrest him. 2 days later, Butler happens. And Crooks, according to the official narrative anyways, is an enigma. We don't know anything about him. We can't get into his devices. If we did get into his devices, maybe there's nothing there. No more questions are allowed to be asked about Thomas Crooks. The DHS IG is currently being blocked from investigating Butler as well. That's out in the media. That's all well known. Your investigative journalists found that Crooks did indeed have an online persona,
quite an
online
extensive
footprint,
one.
and he was talking to people. So it's like, why aren't we investigating this?
He's got a good point. The one thing that in his conversation that I agree with, why aren't we investigating that? U.S. officials, the last day, detected drones over Fort Leslie J. McNair in Washington, where Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reside. Reuters says the report came via the Washington Post, citing 3 people briefed on the situation. Officials had not yet determined where the drones came from at the time of the reporting. Now, this comes when Pete Hegseth and obviously Marco Rubio are under a lot of global pressure and scrutiny. Now, I'm just putting things together. This is how my mind works. I pearl string things. A cruise missile struck and hit a building inside Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant, reportedly narrowly missing the reactor itself. So you have Joe Kent and Tucker talking about, hey, there's something more to this Butler, Pennsylvania, and people who were trying to potentially kill Donald Trump. I think it was Ukraine with probably some other foreign connections. Then he goes on, and then we find out that, you know, the war is not going good for Israel. Israel needs to pressure the United States into a longer war if they want their agenda, their objectives actually met. And we've seen this over the last few days, the targeting of Iranian gas and oil fields, and Donald Trump basically coming out and saying that, no, that wasn't us. Even when Israel said it was the U.S. and Israel operation. I called this yesterday 100%. Good reason why I did. Now, what's happening is Israel is trying to progress this forward. They're trying to escalate this war because they know that when they target Iranian oil infrastructure, Iran is going to target all of its neighboring countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, so forth. And that's exactly what happened. And so Israel's waiting for this escalation point until something happened last night. Now, to give you the 2 points of this context, yesterday about 5 o'clock, I posted this, and I've been kind of posting about this the last few days, about this specifically. I'm going to drag this over here. There we go. And I said, Israel launched this attack, and when it was reported that the U.S. took part in it, and this one right here, Trump now wants no additional strikes on Iranian energy infrastructure. Trump knew nothing about it and is livid that this happened again. And I made this statement specifically for a reason. That when the reports were coming out that the U.S. and Israel took part in a strike on Iranian oil infrastructure, I said Trump knew nothing about this and was livid. Why would Israel do this? Our best and perfect ally wants war, their war. They want Iran gone. They can't do it without Trump. Trump has already stated this war is over and there'll be no more troops and no 10-year war. This is Israel trying to force Trump's hands. Well, what did Trump do last night? He put out this beautiful gem. He says Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as the South Pars gas field in Iran. A relatively small section of the whole has been hit. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack. I'll repeat that again. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea what was going to happen. Unfortunately, Iran did not know this or any of the pertinent facts pertaining to the South Pars attacks, and unjustifiably and unfairly attacked a portion of Qatar's LNG gas field. No more attacks will be made by Israel pertaining to this extremely important and valuable South Pars field unless Iran otherwise decides to attack a very innocent, in this case, Qatar, in which instance, the United States of America will, without the help or consent of Israel, will massively blow up the entirety of the South Pars gas field at the amount and strength and power the Iran has never seen or witnessed before. Now, I want to highlight this. Number one, no more attacks will be made by Israel, all in capital letters. That is a message to you, me, everybody who's paying attention. Then he goes on and talks about how we will defend Qatar and don't worry about Israel. They're not going to attack again. Does that sound like a man who's controlled by Israel? Like Israel is somehow calling the shots in this war? Doesn't at all. Not even close. And Donald Trump today came out and stated, listen to his words right here.
This weaponry is a volatile world, and the military equipment, the power of some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious. But we want to do. Don't forget, Biden gave away. I rebuilt.
What did he say there? We have weapons that you can't even fathom. We could end this in 2 seconds if we want to, but we're being very judicious. That the pain that they are inflicting on Iran is intentional. What they are doing is intentional. If they wanted to end this, they could end it in 2 seconds because they know how to end it. And he said, we are ending it. It'll be over relatively soon. He came out today and said this war will be over very soon. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The other day, we talked about objectives, Donald Trump's objectives, and then Netanyahu's objectives. And we know Netanyahu's objectives are a little bit more further out there than Donald Trump's. But the only reason, the only point that Israel is involved in the first place is because Israel does not want Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. So they want the nuclear facilities gone. They want the uranium gone. And number two, the ballistic missile production capacity, as well as the amount of ballistic missiles. Today, Benjamin Netanyahu, after being slapped down by Donald Trump in a post last night, must have got a phone call as well, came out with much humility, admitted, yeah, the United States knew nothing about the attack on the South Pars. Benjamin Netanyahu didn't come out and say, well, no, actually, we notified CENTCOM. No, he came out and said they knew nothing. That was us. And that's our bad. Then he also came out and said that Iran is no longer able to enrich uranium or have a nuclear weapons program or even build ballistic missiles. In other words, those were the checkmark boxes of why Donald Trump had to enact, or at least this is what we're being told, to go help Israel do this. And that Israel was only going to progress because those things laid in place. In other words, Netanyahu just came out and checked off the box the objectives of Donald Trump to finish this war. Netanyahu came out again today and said what? This war will be over faster than you think. He said that today. Didn't say that last week. Didn't say that the week before. Said that today. Now he's repeating the tone of Donald J. Trump. It's almost like Benjamin Netanyahu just got on board with what is happening. And he just learned that he is not in control and that Donald Trump is. And I've said that this was going to happen. We talked about this over the last couple days with Israel kind of testing the United States to kind of progress this war and escalate it more by getting Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and so forth into it. But instead, Donald Trump kept posture and contained Israel, or at least what we're seeing. My thoughts are, watch out for a potential false flag event. Always possible. But Trump is going to finish his objectives. That's going to be Karg Island. I'm telling you, Karg Island is going to be big. You have the Tripoli that's headed right now to that region. We'll see what happens when that comes about. Quick transitional shift. I'm going to bring everybody's favorite gut health guy on board with us real quick. What's up, Gabe? How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. And thanks. I know you sent me something a little earlier this week related to gut health, and I appreciate that. So since I get the luxury of asking you a question, what do you, I've been hearing that Israel's almost out of these anti-missile missiles, and that would obviously be a point at which they would have to pretty much get in line with whatever we want to do. Have you heard much about that? They're
Yeah,
almost out of,
yeah. So there's a lot of truth and untruth to a lot of that stuff. Number one is that Israel's out of the Iron Dome's anti-missile defense systems. That is actually fairly accurate. Doesn't mean that they can't get more or have more put in and reloaded. But the real stuff that they're talking about there is the U.S. is almost out of long-range ballistic missiles. That's just nonsense. And it's just propaganda. The idea is that, listen, the United States pulled out right now. Israel could probably last about 30 days, and it would be bad. Right. Iran would eventually win. And Israel knows that. That's why they're trying to progress and keep Donald Trump engaged, because they want a long-term war and they want to absolutely decimate Iran and then implement their own puppets. That's not going to happen. The idea here is that Israel went in this with their own agenda to install their own Mossad-controlled operators within the infrastructure of Iran. And Trump is rug pulling them with a shorter operation than Israel wanted, and most likely going to allow the people to rise up to elect their own people. At least this is what I think he's hoping for. So that's my perspective.
Yeah. So, yeah, it seems like there's going to be a point in which Israel's not going to be able to go as rogue as they've done on some of this type of thing. But
well, and I think that's
good listening.
Yeah, I think that it's important to even look at it like that, because when you see Netanyahu coming out today with his other AI generated video, which there's AI modulations in it, you know that Donald Trump is in control. At least you're getting the illusion that Donald Trump is in control. As this pans out, we will see if that actually happens. I'm giving it 2 weeks from now to kind of see where this is at. In 2 weeks, if this is still going and this is escalating, then we're going to have some problems. But I think that 2 weeks, this is going to be relatively over.
Yeah, that's about as much as I could take of these $4 gallon gas prices. So, I mean, not to mention there's a lot more serious things about it, but if you're just going to look at it the practical everyday sense, my gosh,
Yeah.
So, but thanks for sending that info. There's so much coming out on gut health, and and as you mentioned, there was a paper showing that certain microbes are now being studied and proven to show an effect on strength and muscle performance and that sort of thing. And in fact, our probiotic that's in GoodBrew, increases protein utilization by 20, and it's been shown in and of itself to also, improve muscle recovery, less soreness, less inflammation, and these sorts of things by directly breaking down proteins into amino acids and peptides. But that also goes into everything else, because these amino acids and peptides. So if these microbes are showing the effects on muscle performance, that also should tell you that they're affecting all these other aspects of the body as well, and all of our other organs and systems, endocrine system, and of course the things that are really related to a healthy digestive system, which then relates to everything else, which is like just the basic things like a healthy gut lining, mucosal lining, which affects the immune system, and right on down the line. But yeah, definitely real research on, and also there was other research in relation to the one that you sent about the muscle performance, grip strength, and that sort of thing, which also is not just about athletes. That's as we get older, strength and muscle performance and grip strength is actually one of the greatest indicators to healthy aging. That's one of the things that will measure to see how we're doing as we get older. It's a great indicator of where you're at in terms of your health, but also endurance. There's been several studies done on the gut microbiomes for aerobic performance as well, and even people that live at higher altitudes, they have a different microbiome, and so because it probably helps them produce more nitric oxide and that sort of thing, which helps to keep the vascularity healthy and that kind of thing. So it affects everything, and we're so happy to get so many good testimonials and whatnot. So.
Well, and so the testimonials are still rolling in. I know that we have between Alpha and I and Nino and all these other guys. There is a massive amount of people using GoodBrew, and I want the audience to listen to this because there's a reason why I bring sponsors on or affiliates on, like Gabe. Gabe's been with me for a long time, and I don't bring him on because because he's paying me massive amounts of money or anything like that, because he's not, Gabe. But
we'll
I bring
there
him on
someday, Josh.
I bring him on because the testimonials that come from all of you, because people are writing me, people are writing Gabe within our audience and saying, dude, this stuff is awesome. My neighbor is like, dude, this stuff is freaking awesome, and he still uses it. And everybody that I know who's been buying it, who bought it one time, has bought it again and again and again and again. And to me, that is an amazing product. And then when people start talking about the effects on their health of these products, this is why we bring Gabe back.
This is reorders that tell the story, right? Like, I mean, we have the testimonials. I mean, but when you see people have ordered 10 times, obviously that tells the story. And so, everybody's different. And if you haven't been using GoodBrew and you start using GoodBrew, start small and then see where you end up. I think Josh has mentioned that he's a 1.5 scoop a day guy. So people really get quite specific with it, and it's an organic inulin fiber. Again, if you take probiotics in a capsule and they say they have prebiotics, just keep in mind that many of the prebiotics that are on the market aren't really the type of prebiotic fiber that our gut microbiome has evolved to feed on. So that's important. But also in a capsule form, you can't get enough fiber in that capsule to really be significant. So by using a product in the scoop form like we have, you can adjust it to what works for you, and B, get enough of it. But also it's an organic inulin fiber. And now the research, that was always my thesis on this whole thing, was that you needed to use a prebiotic that that the microbiome would naturally be feeding on. And now all this research is coming out backing that up, including that really great paper on showing how inulin fiber specifically trains the microbiome to break down fructose, which then also produces not only the benefits of not having fructose make its way to the liver, but also actually producing very important healthy molecules from that fructose, so breaking it down into these amino acids. So this is the role that the microbiome plays on every aspect of our life, and we talk about so many different subjects, but the role that it plays on the mind and the mind body axis, and the metabolites that the microbes produce actually encourage the body to consume more of the types of food sources that those microbes like. So if you're eating a good, healthy diet and you have probiotics, and GoodBrew is really foundational because it actually provides the kind of metabolites that shifts the gut microbiome into the direction to support the other good microbes, which then actually produce metabolites to encourage us to want to have more of the good stuff. And likewise, if we're in dysbiosis, there's microbes that will encourage us to eat more bad stuff. There's microbes that love sugar, and they'll actually send out signals to the body to eat more sugar. But also this gets into addiction and things. They see that people recover better from addiction if they have a healthy microbiome. And
now let me ask you this: how is your biome connected to various different hormones, specifically dopamine and serotonin?
Right. So on multiple levels, actually, because if you just think about having a healthier body and on the very basic level, a healthier body, the butyrate, the short chain fatty acids that are produced that then support these other probiotics that then support a healthier gut. And the gut lining means you have healthier cells functioning more properly. But then there's more detail to this, because the microbes, probiotics, good microbes, produce a lot of the amino acids, tryptophan and tyrosine, and these other things that are then precursors to dopamine and serotonin, and these things that are like running our body, these neurotransmitters. Also the gases. So it's funny to talk about, gas, but the gases the microbes produce. So there's methogens, and typically speaking, if you have too many methogens and different microbes that are producing smelly gas, that's also kind of an indication of dysbiosis, because the hydrogen, CO2, nitric oxide, and hydrogen sulfide, which is a very important one also. These are very important gases that all have neurotrans. They call them. There's a name for gasoemitters or something like that. They actually are neurotransmitters. So our body actually uses these gases, like nitric oxide, signals to the blood vessels to open up and to allow more, oxygen to flow through the body. So these things affect the immune function, and they also affect the signaling to the brain that then also affect our endocrine system and the release of these, serotonins and dopamines. But we've also seen and discussed that in the past where, let's say if you're in dysbiosis from research that the military has done, that makes you more susceptible to say to trauma and like PTSD. Well, maybe not all the stress in our life is going to lead to PTSD, but if the microbiome is impactful enough to make the difference between one person being able to process trauma in a way to come up and to not have PTSD, and another one to have PTSD, well, that's also something that we should take home with us, because we're under stress all the time, and whether or not we're upregulating serotonin or downregulating serotonin and upregulating cortisol, that's all affected by the microbiome. So your mood, but then also longer term mental health, directly related to the microbiome. And you just think, if you have also these things that we hear about all the time, that GoodBrew has helped people with acid reflux and chronic constipation. Well, these things are signals that you're in dysbiosis. And if it's helping those conditions, which very directly affect you. So when you're in pain from acid reflux, or you're in pain from constipation or IBS or whatever, well, that very much directly sends off inflammation and triggers in the body to you don't feel well. You don't have a good mood when you're feeling that way. But more holistically speaking, that's also signaling that there's other elements of our system, immune system, endocrine system, not functioning properly, which has these longer term impacts.
Yeah. And so for everybody out there, if you're interested, if you've been using it, please comment, let everybody know what you think of it. And for everybody out there who hasn't tried it, I highly recommend you go take it and try it out. You can use it in any type of drinks, cold or hot. I put it in my coffee in the morning. And I use about 1.5 scoops, sometimes 2 scoops, but that's daring. But prebiotic fiber, probiotic, GoodBrew. Brew is spelled BRU, but the way to get there is really, really easy. We had the link up here just a little while ago. I'm going to put that link back up there, and it's just GoodBrew.com/redpill. And that's GoodBrew is spelled with BRU, so it's goodbrew.com/redpill. And you can go over there, and if you use that redpill at checkout, REDPILL at checkout, you get an extra percentage off. So go check that out, guys. I hope that you can go out there and support small business and Gabe and everything that they got going on. A great product. I appreciate you joining me tonight, Gabe.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, you take care, and I appreciate everything that you do. So yeah, Red Pill for 10% off, which we already priced the product so that it's very, very affordable for people to reuse. You have a great evening. Thanks, Josh.
Take care, brother. Bye.
Yep. Take care.
All right. So just a few more things I wanted to get into. So tomorrow there's going to be a daily dose and a conversation on the fringe. I think Jeff has, I want to say that Jeff has Carrie Cassidy, but I'm not sure. Let me see. Carrie Cassidy is next week. So Jeff is off this week, and it looks like he's going to have Carrie Cassidy on next week for Conversations on the Fringe. So daily dose will be probably a little bit earlier tomorrow. I don't want to quote myself on that, but a little bit earlier tomorrow, and then that'll flow in. Saturday, I believe Nathan is planning on doing another show. Thanks to everybody who joined in and watched Nathan's show. Trying to help him with that. So I appreciate all the support out there. If you guys have any comments or suggestions for Nathan, let him know during that show as well. Feedback is always amazing. Tonight, the OG show. I am going to be heading out in just a few minutes. There's a few more stories I want to touch on, but I'm going to be heading out in just a minute or so to the Sit Rep over on Badlands channel and joining Alpha and CanCon there for just a few minutes. And then tonight, the OG show. So make sure you jump into that. Tonight, I'm going to go really deep dive into. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the 2020 election stuff that's coming out right now. And we're going to talk more about the strategic implications of Iran and what this really means and what's happening. One thing I did want to say is I talked about Carg Island before we went to that. Now, do you remember the other day when I was talking about Lloyd's of London? And we find out yesterday that Qatar was had 17% of its oil infrastructure bombed. And I looked in, I said, hey, I wonder what companies insure that oil base. Sure enough, Lloyd's of London. I'm like, man, Lloyd's of London's gonna be playing out billions upon billions of dollars for the damage being done in the Middle East right now. And I kind of chuckled a little bit because that's what Kirill Dmitriev said yesterday. He says, devastating for the world. He said, catastrophic for the EU. And he's right on that. And then we just had the U.S. has approved the sale of the crude. And then just a funny story. You remember that video that came out last week of the guy driving down the Florida highway in Palm Beach that looked like Jeffrey Epstein? Well, looks like we found Jeffrey Epstein's doppelganger, people. I shit you not, Jeffrey Epstein's doppelganger.
Is Jeffrey Epstein alive? Well, we did what the internet couldn't do. We searched, we asked around, we looked all over Florida, and we tracked down the man that everyone keeps seeing, all right? And it turns out he's not Epstein, okay? He's a former D1 tennis player, a gold medalist, a Soho fashion entrepreneur, our former real estate executive, and today we can finally put the rumors to rest. We got Palm Beach Pete in the building. How you doing? How you doing?
Pete is doing just great. This whole thing is a phenomenal. I'm driving down I-95, minding my own business, and some knucklehead films me, and the next thing I know, my phone is blowing up.
It's just blowing up.
Blown up.
I'm going to be honest.
Out of control.
I don't think Epstein killed himself, so I'm kind of skeptical. You guys are both from West Palm Beach. You guys are both Jewish, so I'm kind of skeptical.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? I think it's kind of funny, but I also think that what if that really was Epstein? What if they're just change your voice up a little bit, some throat surgery? We'll throw you in there as a gay real estate agent. Anything is possible in this day and age. The last one, and then I will head on over to SITREP. All right, parents. Real talk for a second. America is about to hit a huge milestone. We're coming up on America's 250th birthday, 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, America's greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters, not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began. How the founding fathers were, who the founding fathers were, what they risked, and why their ideas they fought for today still matter. This guide sends kids back to a moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. If you care about raising kids who know where this country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you'll want to grab. And the best part, it's completely free with this special offer. You just need to pay the $2 for shipping and processing. Just head to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com. And the Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday is yours for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. And I put that one out there a lot. My kids did the Kid's Guide for a while. And I had quite a few people ask for that. So I wanted to put that back out there. A lot of election integrity stuff are coming out today. We're going to get into that here in just a little while. And then the information about Matthew Brown, the whistleblower, and what he's talking about. And then the meteors. So one of the things we're going to talk about on the OG show, so make sure you're paying attention to it tonight, is the meteors. What is up with all these meteors around? And I don't think it was Chuck Norris, but we'll see. So we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight as well. So just a little bit short of a show tonight, but I'm going to go hop on over to Badlands Media. So the way to get on over there is go over to Badland Media Rumble's channel, and you'll find SITREP, which is live right now. And I'm going to jump on with them for the next 20 minutes. So I'll see you guys over there. Much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. We'll see you.
There was a time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns into silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Voice still calls, we the people will not fall. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch and Q said see, the silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a life's prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone, patriots rise. We are one. Children of freedom, stand for the light. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. There was a time, the time is near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call. Take back
don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!